If you're checking out this video, it's most likely because you've been considering starting a business, but are wondering how you could do that with so little capital. Well, straight up, I'd tell you that the solution to your dilemma is micro-business. A micro-business is a really small business that's typically run by one person, and thanks to technology, you can start and run one on your own and begin to earn a decent profit in no time at all. Testimonies of micro-business success abound, and some of them are featured in the $100 Startup, a book by Chris Guillebeau. Many of those businesses were started with $100 or even less, yet they bring in $50,000 in annual net income. And just so you know that these are not just long tales, we'll be going through specific steps on how to start your own micro-business in this video and grow it to a point where it's really profitable. This is going to be a really rich video, so grab your pen and notepad and let's get started. First things first, one of the beautiful things about running a micro-business, especially in this age of highly advanced technology, is the fact that you don't have to upend your life to run a business. You could typically run your micro-business around your current 9-to-5 or other business, which should be a relief for those who are worried about losing a source of income while they try to get their new business off the ground. But how do you get this business off the ground? Well, after interviewing 1,500 successful micro-business owners, most of whom started their business with $100 or less, Chris Guillebeau came to the conclusion that there are three common factors among those individuals, and one of those factors is passion. Now, it'd be manipulative of me to present the idea of creating a business around something that you're passionate about as a new phenomenon, but it does bear emphasizing, considering that many of the people who have really profitable micro-businesses started their business out of interest. If there's something that you're really interested in or passionate about and don't mind transforming it into a business, you should go for it. Thanks to the internet, you don't need to bother about certain overhead costs. You could instead concentrate on transforming your passion into something sellable or scaling it down into something that doesn't require too much money to start, and you could be one of those success stories. Another factor is usefulness, and this doesn't have to go hand in hand with passion. Sure, starting a passion project could be great, but there's a number of reasons why that wouldn't work for everybody. For some, it could be because they don't want to turn their passion into a money-making venture. For others, it could be that their passion's too expensive to start. And for some others, it could be that there isn't really anything that they're passionate about in that way. If any of those apply to you, you could, instead, look out for things that people would pay or are paying money for. This would require you to do a lot of research, but the internet, specifically social media, has made this a bit easier. That said, it also has to be mentioned that if you're starting a business around your passion, it also has to be something that many people would find useful. Be careful that I didn't say practical, but useful, because while toys, for instance, might not seem practical for adults, there's many that would find them useful. If your passion's too niche, it might be difficult to build a thriving business around it. So broadening the scope of your passion might be the way to go here. In addition, even if you won't be building your business around a passion, you need to have a passion for business in general, or making money at the very least. Starting and running a business is typically not smooth sailing, so you need to actually be interested in what you're doing to be able to keep going. The third common fact that Guillebeau found was skills transformation. The idea of this one's that outside of creating a business on your passion or skills, you could create your business on something related. This is a good way to blend what you're passionate about with what customers find useful. If your passion doesn't work for whatever reason, consider looking into business ideas that are not exactly within your skill set, but are also not wildly different. Or, for those who are multi-skilled or multi-talented, you could blend some of your skills together to create a new product or service that customers would find useful. At the end of the day, value creation is what you want to aim for. You can't have a successful business, especially a micro one, that doesn't do something for people. Whether it's making something available, making something better, removing something that people find annoying, or a blend of all of them, you need to offer value if you plan to build your business to the point where it's very profitable. The only way to find out what people consider valuable, and whether there's a point of convergence between those and the things you're interested in, is to do your research. And you can start that research on social media. Look out for what products people are complaining about and also what they rave about. Those could give you an idea of what to make a business out of. Alternatively, you could make direct inquiries, asking people what product or service they'd like to see you offer. That said, in your research, make sure that you're not mistaking what people claim they want for what they're actually willing to spend money on. Ask specific questions to determine if people would be willing to spend money on whatever products or services you're considering offering. If you've already started but people aren't buying, ask your customers what you should be doing differently. It could be that you just need to switch things up a little bit or drop your prices. However, you need to be careful of that second one. Speaking of people and what they want, in your research, you want to determine your demographics. Your customers might fall into the traditional demographics such as age, race, location, and even income. But the world's changed so much that there's many products and services that don't appeal to specifically traditional demographics. So you might need to look at other demographics like shared interests, skills, beliefs, struggles, and passions. With all of that in mind and all the information that you've gotten, it's time to sit down and come up with business ideas. And because you might get so many options that it becomes overwhelming, you should consider starting with a baseline evaluation. According to Guillebeau, there's 3 things that are non-negotiable in a micro-business. 1 is that your business has to produce an obvious product or service. 2 is that there has to be a considerable number of people that do not just like your product or service, but are ready to pay for it. You should also know where to find them and how to get to them. And the 3rd is that you need to be sure of how you'll be getting paid for your product or service. The internet's made it possible for every other thing involved in running a business to be optional. Your baseline evaluation should help you weed out some of the many ideas that you were able to generate. But if you still have quite a number, you want to go ahead and do what Guillebeau calls the decision-making matrix. This is basically where you score each idea on a scale of 1 to 5 against 4 criteria. 1. The overall impact on the business and customers. 2. The amount of time and effort required. 3. The profitability of one idea compared to the others. And 4. How the idea fits with your overall mission and vision. Of course, whichever idea comes out on top is the one that you want to start experimenting with. However, the idea is not to then throw away the other ideas. Hold on to them. This is why you need to document all that you've been doing, because you just might need to revisit them in the future, whether because you want to switch lanes because the first one wasn't working quite as well, or because you want to expand operations because the first one's proven to be a huge success. With your first idea in hand, you're ready to get your hands dirty, the good kind of dirty, and your first step is drawing up a business plan. Now, don't let this scare you. For a micro business, you don't need a 100-page business plan. In fact, Guillebeau actually emphasizes action over planning. Not that planning isn't important. It absolutely is, but many people plan way more than they execute. They basically hide behind planning and just never get to the execution phase of things because they're waiting for things to be perfect. So to really get you moving, Guillebeau suggests drawing up a 1-page business plan. Your business plan will contain your product or service. Of course, your idea for marketing, your plan for manufacturing or procuring the product or service, your plan for money, and your plan for regrouping. And that's about it. We've already talked about how to arrive at a product or service. But what about money? First off, it's important that you properly price your product or service. Doing this would involve checking out how similar products or services are priced and also considering the specific benefits that your own product or service offers. You would also need to determine how much you're willing to spend on your startup so that you know when you're close to overspending. Now, what about marketing? Well, according to Guillebeau, it's important that you start your marketing before manufacturing. Remember that the idea here is to start a business with as little money as possible. So you want to make sure that there's actually a buying market for your product or service before you spend your money on producing. You really can't afford to have lots of products sitting in your home or store somewhere with no one buying. Still speaking about marketing, don't spend too much money on it. You're not a big company, so you can't exactly afford to run a full-on marketing campaign. Instead, take advantage of as many free advertising options as are available to you. You should also explore free or low-cost tools for things like website creation and content management. Bear in mind that if you have to dip into your savings, borrow from people, or take out a loan, you're probably spending too much. The way you craft your marketing pitch is also really important. Appealing to emotions is generally a great marketing strategy, telling people how much better the product or service would make their lives, instead of just listing features. However, this doesn't always work. People who are into gadgets and cars, for instance, tend to prefer hearing what the product can do than being sold emotions. Just make sure to tailor your marketing to your audience. If your idea is strictly a service, offering a limited trial offer or freemium service could demonstrate the value of your offerings to your customers. This strategy allows potential clients to experience your expertise and encourage them to upgrade to paid premium services. And if your service actually delivers on its promise, people would actually end up paying for the service. Alternatively, you could offer tiered pricing plans to cater to different customer needs and budgets. Your marketing campaign could also feature FAQs, frequently asked questions. Anticipate some of the questions that your customers might have and give the answers somewhere in your pitch or on your website. This way, you don't lose potential customers because they have some objections or concerns. More than just telling people about your product, though, you want to use the period of marketing, both before and after your launch, as an opportunity to build a relationship with your customers. So share some personal details about you so that they know that there's a person behind the brand. Nothing too personal, though. Also, ask your customers for their opinion and actually take those into consideration. Plus, you could share some tips on how you use the product or service that you're selling. As I mentioned earlier, though, having a solid marketing pitch or plan is not enough. You need to be willing and able to put in the work. You might not have enough money to sink into the business, but you need to be able to compensate with other things like your time and effort. This might require you to make some cold calls, do some giveaways, or just speak to lots and lots of people that you already know to get them to push your business for you. Whatever you do, just don't keep quiet about your business. Right before you launch, you want to create hype around your product or service. So create an intriguing teaser that tells people what to look forward to. Your teaser should tell people why they need your product or service, when it'll be launched, and how they'll be able to get it when it launches. And make sure to do this pre-launch marketing on all the social media platforms, if possible. That said, launch day is not the end of your marketing. After the product's launched, you want to continue engaging with your customers, encouraging those that have used the product or service to send in their testimonies. Share those on your social media platforms to encourage those that have not bought from you to give it a try. You could also post complaints from users, provided that those complaints have been attended to and even fixed. This could help people that might be having the same issues. You also want to continue to remind your customers about the time limitations on your promo offers and stick to the initial promise. Don't extend or change the terms. When your promo period ends, make sure to thank your customers and then take the time to celebrate the success of your launch and recharge. There's more work ahead of you as your business expands, so enjoy this short moment of recharge. After your quick period of recharge, it's time to get back on the grind. Your business will not sell itself. This is the point where you want to get into the technicalities. Focus on increasing traffic to your website, increasing the rate of conversion, which is the number of people that don't just see your products but actually buy, and increasing the amount of purchases from existing buyers. This might require you to get tools that track all of these analytics, and might also require you to throw in some of those freebies and freemium offers that we mentioned earlier. Just don't go crazy with it because the bottom line is to make money. If nothing seems to be working, this is where you go back to your drawing board. Start by asking your customers what they want to see or what they wish was better, and depending on the answers that you get, you might have to pull out some of those other ideas that you kept on the back burner at the beginning of this whole process. But how do you know if your business is working? Well, Guillebeau proposes a two-pronged strategy for monitoring the health of your business. One prong points to picking one or two metrics, could be sales or cash flow, and monitoring those continually. The second prong points to monitoring everything else less often, could be bi-weekly or monthly. Aside from those, you also want to do regular audits to make sure that your marketing still works, your pricing still works, and your product or service still works. If your business gets successful enough, you can even start thinking of expanding. Guillebeau recommends considering franchising yourself. Instead of buying a franchise, you could just create spin-off products and services that branch out of your core business. Basically just introducing new products and services, typically related, on the same website, social media platform, or other kind of platform. Alternatively, you could partner with another business and either run as one business or as two branches of the same core, whatever works for you. You have to bear in mind, though, that you'll be transitioning from being a sole proprietor to running your business with someone. It takes a lot of getting used to, seeing as you'll no longer be the sole decision maker and money earner. So take the time to plan and spell out responsibilities and profit sharing before taking the leap. All of that said, there's nothing that says that you'll have to blow up your business. Do whatever feels right for you, and only grow your business at your own pace and to your ideal size. Only you can define success for your business. Now, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and get things started.